Hi, I'm Honda. This is my wife Christina. We've had the privilege of being involved with camps in a number of capacities over the years. Latterly, we were leading base camp for 2 years and Oswestry senior camp for the 6 years prior to that. We've been asked in 3 minutes to share some of our memorable moments or experiences, and it's so hard to keep it down to 3 minutes with the wonderful campers and leaders and cooks and helpers that we've had, and the number of experiences that we've had of God's goodness over those years. But I think we've managed to narrow that down to a couple of moments. So I think Christina's going to share with us her first memorable moment.
Yeah, it was really hard just to think of just a few memorable moments, but the one that kind of sticks out in both our minds is probably our first ever Oswestry senior camp. And I think one of the reasons it was so precious was that it was our first camp, and that was our door into leading so many other campers through a week of camp and a week of the gospel, and that was such a privilege for us, and we have loved every minute of it. Our first ever camp leading, we decided to pick the book of Revelation to do our talks, which a lot of people told us we were mad to do. And we focused on the letters to the churches, and actually we have such fond memories of that week, and there was just such a sense of the Spirit, such a power in the word, and everybody was so desperate to get to the talks, and the talks would last way longer than they were meant to. The singing
in a good way.
The discussion would always last way longer, and the singing was always amazing. And I think one verse in particular, it was the verse of you're neither hot nor cold, you're lukewarm, and I will spit you out, just woke everybody up. And it led to such an opening and such an honesty in our Christian walks that actually led to so much fruit for the leaders as well as the campers. And even since that camp, it has been such a privilege, because it's such a short time. It's been such a privilege for us to see actually how far so many of these campers have gone, and
even seeing them coming back year after year, you were seeing how God was working in them and how they were growing in their faith, and that was amazing.
It totally was amazing, yeah.
I think one of the highlights, it definitely was the last night of our first camp. One of the campers coming to faith.
Yeah, that was
And we had the privilege of her becoming a leader a few years later down the line, and serving alongside us at Oswestry Senior. So just seeing God doing that was just a huge privilege, and to have played even a small part in what God was doing is just such a blessing. And that particular year, Christina mentioned, the talks went in a direction none of us had planned. God kind of took over that, and it was, everything he did that year was just amazing. For myself, I think the singing is always a highlight. Every year we'd have a camp anthem. Every year a particular song would speak to us and become the anthem of camp, being sung over and over again. The one that sticks in my mind is Lord, I Need You. And I remember one of the campers in particular, a young man, just looking at him down the front with his eyes closed, hand on his chest, just singing from his heart, Lord, I need you. And it was just really powerful, and it just sticks with me. So the singing at camp is always a massive blessing to be a part of. And I think just looking across all our time at camp, it's a reminder of the power of the gospel. God's word and God's spirit changes lives. The gospel changes lives, and we've seen that. We've seen people coming to faith. We've seen people being convicted. We've seen people being encouraged. We've seen just the transformation that the gospel can bring, and it truly is the power of God to salvation for all who believe. And it's been a privilege to be even a small part in that. So thank you, FCYC, for giving us the privilege of serving, and thank you for allowing us to share a few of those stories with you.